Alright. Welcome back, everyone, to another one of our digital meetings for CalmingEscape boutiques. I'm just going to give everyone a moment to successfully log in so that we can have a proper chat and kind of go over some of the expectations as we move further into spring and, before we know it, summer. Okay. We're going to be going over 5 looks today. All of you should have received these different shipments by now, as well as the layout plans for the displays and how we would like to show off and introduce these specific looks to our retail audience. Alright, I'm just going to give a couple more moments to make sure that everyone is logged on. And if everyone can just go ahead and pop up your store number so that I can kind of take a little bit of roll just to make sure that all of the managers that I was expecting are online with us today. From the previous emails and forms of communication, there should be about 10 stores with us today. I know that some of you are located fairly close to one another and have probably interacted, of course, and then others are in separate states. So throughout today's meeting, as we go over these different looks, feel free to pop in with your questions. There are no stupid questions. I would rather you guys be well informed than to assume something instead. Okay, everyone? Okay, good. So I think we've waited long enough, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there's 10. Perfect. Alrighty. So, spring. We are obviously already into spring, so in our boutiques we have some spring collections, looks, and ideas that we're showing and introducing to our retail audience. Now, with our next setup and our next launch, you could say, we are really going to be focusing on the rompers. So these 5 looks are 5 new rompers that we are going to have available at all of the CalmingEscape boutiques. So we're just going to be going over the simplistic look of a romper. It's very easy for someone to just throw on a romper and have a complete look, or they can add some jewelry or accessories to spice it up a little bit. You definitely have options with the romper, and as we go into spring and eventually the summer months, we want to show our audience those options. Alright, so I'm going to be starting with our red look. So I'm sure that all of you have looked through the shipments, but you should also have the digital files of the images of these pieces. Okay, so this is, I would call it a wine red romper, if you will. It is more cut in the front to show off a bit of the bust, depending, of course, on the wearer's body and styling. The back of it is going to have a bit of crisscross, if you will. And we also have a tie around the waist. This is going to give the buyer the option to show off the waistline by tying it in. So you have the flowy, loose bit at the top and more flowy bits around the thigh. And then they have the option to have a more looser bow around the middle, or if they want to tie it a little tighter, you can give that hourglass shape. Personal preference. So I wouldn't say that this is a color that screams, but we are much more looking at the styles and styling and not so much the dedicated colors or prints for these rompers. With spring and summer, we see so much floral. Sometimes it is a little refreshing to just have a solid color, or even a bit of a darker color, if you will. We do, of course, have patterns over here, but I wanted to show something with just a solid color as well. Does anyone have any questions about this specific romper? So the wine red is going to be the main color, and I believe we are going to launch kind of a few weeks in with a black one as well. Once again, not necessarily going in for those typical spring colors, but a black romper in this style that can be styled so many different ways. And then we may even look into, I would call it like an ocean blue color. Not quite dark enough to be considered black, but not a bright blue. Kind of is somewhere in between. So I like to think of that like deep ocean blue color. Okay? Alright, so that was our first romper here. Alright, so our next one, it has the touch of spring with some floral print, but it's not like bright in your face floral, if you will. It is completely covered in the flower print, but it's smaller and it's darker. So this here, we have this black and dark blue romper. Along it, we have some blue, light blue, white, and yellow flower details. So from a distance, you can't necessarily see that it is a floral print, of course. Up close, we can see the flowers and the leaves, almost like little roses, if you will. But from a distance, it's not so in your face. Another thing is, even though there are hints of light blue, white, and yellow, it is not a super bright color. So it's darker tones. This is a spaghetti strap, as was the first one. This one does have some button details down the front, and they are functional buttons, so it can be styled to be unbuttoned, perhaps to wear a bralette or a tank top underneath it, depending on the wearer or how they wish to style it. or it can be buttoned up all the way as it is here, and it doesn't dip too low on the chest, I would say. But of course, if they would want more cleavage, more of the bust to show, they have that option to unbutton these functional buttons. And of course, it's going to sit on the thigh. I will say something that I like about these specific styles and rompers is the length and how essentially comfy they are. It's an easy outfit to pull together. It's one piece. That's a great selling point, remember. And I don't feel like the length is too high to where anyone would be uncomfortable, but it's not too long to where they're still able to show off a decent bit of leg. And this will fluctuate slightly depending on the height of the buyer, but for the most part we try and fit in with as many body types, sizes, and so on, and our various models have all had a positive experience with the cut, style, length, and overall feel to these specific rompers. Okay, so that's very important as well, and a fantastic selling point. We do want to have all of our launches and our collections available to as many people as we can. We are not aiming for one specific size group. We would like to get as many as we can because no one is exactly the same body type. Okay, so do we have any questions about this dark blue floral print? It is more of a razor back, I would say, but still you have the thinner straps here, so some people may prefer to wear it with a bralette where it's, more of a style to have a lacy bralette show or even a tank underneath it. Depending on the person, you could go without or throw on a bikini top underneath it. Would just depend on what the style and look the person is going for. Okay, perfect. Alright, so this one I would probably say is one of our more bright pop ones, if you will. But at the same time, it's a more unique color. So this is like a golden mustardy even color. This one is very flowy. So you have the spaghetti straps up here that are adjustable, but on the shoulder and side of the arm, you're going to have the option for this cuff to lay gently against your shoulder, kind of fall off the arm, if you will. So it definitely adds a bit of flow to the look. Now this obviously has some floral print. This reminds me of like a tropical destination, if you will. You're gonna have a bit of a dip just to show off the bust here with a little bit of ruching, and along the back you got a little bit of stretch for comfort and that flowiness. The midsection goes in slightly just to once again give the wearer a bit of a hourglass look, but then it's very flowy on the bottom against the legs, the lower stomach even. It's very flowy and comfortable, and the material is nice and soft. This specific romper does have pockets. That is a huge selling point. Everyone wants pockets. Pockets are fantastic, so we want to include them as often as we can, but I am in love with this look and pattern. I don't think we see it very often, but yes, so flowiness, fun, and can most definitely go from spring into summer as well. So do we have any questions on this one? Yes, I did say that the straps are adjustable, which are very helpful. Let me see. The blue one does have adjustable straps as well. Let me make sure on the red. Let me see here. So just the blue one is going to be the adjustable straps, and this one. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and move on. Alright, this one is so unbelievably comfortable. I could almost like use it as pajamas. It's so comfortable. So here we have a black and white design. Once again, doesn't scream spring because of the more darker tones. It's not a floral print. It's just, I mean, if you look at it, you could maybe see a bit of leaves or floral, but it's not in your face floral. Like, I would not call it that. Just some specific patterns. Now this is probably the softest material we have of these rompers. So soft. This one is also going to come in at the waist to give a little bit of a figure there, but still be very flowy and comfortable. This is very comfy, so please remember that when showing it. The straps are thicker straps, which some people will appreciate. Not everyone cares for the spaghetti strap. And it has some pops of light blue, pink, and yellow. The bottom is once again flowy and not too tight or uncomfortable. And this one, yet again, is going to have the pockets that so many of our customers really do appreciate. So, do we have any questions about this one? Yes, that's very good. So with all of these, the accessories can always be an option. Rompers are super easy outfit. If the wearer doesn't want to think too much into it, they can pop this on, they're good to go. But some other people may want pops of color. Considering this is black and white, this would be the perfect opportunity to bring in pops of color, whether that be a necklace, a bright belt. You could even bring that pop of color into the shoe. Since there are a little bit of pinks here, the majority is black and white, but bits of pink, you could play off of that and suggest some pink jewelry, perhaps earrings. Yes. And for spring, it's not always super warm, of course, so with this, if you wanted to suggest a little jacket, a little cover, if you will, it could be a solid color, and that would look really good with the black and white pattern. So they have that jacket to wear during the rainy or cooler spring days, and then as they move into summer, they will still have this piece to wear just as it is for those warmer days. Okay. Alright, and our final romper is this green pattern. Dark green and a brighter green, almost like a darker greeny blue, if you will, with lots of pattern. These are not the straps, they're just the pesky little hanger holders, if you will. So this one here is strapless. It's going to have lots of stretch, so lots of different body types will be able to wear this. And then you also have a bit of support with this around the bust because of this scrunching, if you will. There's a bit of support, so depending on the person, they may be able to get away without a bra for this one, or once again, they could do like a bralette. Sometimes with rompers, because they're so comfy, someone may not want to wear a strapless bra. They can be such a hassle sometimes, so this one does have a bit of support for people interested in that. This one is going to have our pockets as well. Pockets are so important. I try to include them in as many things as possible, but I just love this color. It's beautiful for spring, can translate perfectly into summer as well. And since this is strapless, once again, we still have some beautiful lightweight jackets that we could pair. Like we have this black jacket that would look fantastic over this. Solid black, but still very stylish. And then you have the pops of color and texture and pattern within this piece. It would go very well together. So keep that in mind when you are styling and placing these on the floor, when you're helping customers to select additional pieces. Just keep that in mind that although the romper is very easy and quick outfit, it can always be changed with additional pieces or accessories. Okay, so let me just okay, so let me just show you once more if there's any additional questions or comments. We have this wine red romper, the dark flower pattern blue romper. We have the mustard or golden tropical romper. We have this black and white pattern. And we have this green romper. So, those are the main pieces that are going to be launched for this setup. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns? Yes, so as of now, the only one that will be coming in alternate colors is that first one, the wine red. It's going to have the additional colors. The other ones, because of the patterns, as of right now, are not going to come in additional colors. This is a quick launch, kind of in the middle of spring before we jump into summer, of course. So it is smaller and it has less items. Okay. Okay. Yes, we're not being too picky or specific with the styling or accessories. If you have some jewelry, some necklaces, some bracelets that you think would look fantastic with one of these, by all means, please style it that way. But at the same time, remember that you can show the customer that they don't have to have accessories. It is always good to upsell, and I always appreciate that. But sometimes if the customer is looking for a simple look, they don't want the added accessories. They don't want the jewelry, the belts, even like a hairpiece, hat, anything like that. So keep in mind that you're going to come across both types of customers. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in on this digital meeting. I appreciate all of you for your time. I do look forward to the pictures of your setups and your launches. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful day.